Today is August 7th, and we need your help in locating Whisper, mom of 36 years old, as well as her 8-month-old daughter. We are in California, and we're going to bring you all of the information and news that we have on this. And we need you to help spread awareness. We need you to jump in if you're in the area and be a part of this with us. First thing I want to do is introduce you to Richard, who is Whisper's brother. 2 years age difference, and you guys have been through a lot together through the years, and you never thought that you'd be in this situation here today looking for your sister.
No, I never thought that I'd not know where my sister is and not have any idea whether she's okay or not. And it's just mind-boggling to try to figure out where somebody you love is, let alone their child, and try to explain to the people that you care about that you have no idea. Yeah. And that there's no clue as to where they went or whether they're okay or not.
And Richard is really taking the lead on this, for the entire family, because as you guys have watched our videos through the years, is a lot of families are left feeling like, hey, law enforcement has not stepped in, they've not done enough. And while they're getting help behind the scenes with law enforcement, it never feels like enough, and they feel like, they're in it alone. And today, we're showing Richard and his family that other people care about it, and that's why we're here today, clearing whatever waterways we can. But we came up empty-handed, and I want to give you a complete rundown as to there's a lot of misinformation out there on the internet. It happens quick as far as when somebody goes missing. So working with Richard, we want to give you all of that information. So if you see anything that's different than what we're talking about right here, right now, disregard it. This is the newest as of August 7th, and Whisper and her daughter went missing on July 15th. So we're going to give you that rundown where we've searched. I have links in the description for this live stream, and the maps, and the link is going to link to our route that we ended up searching, why we chose it today. We're going to talk about that, as well as our SAR topo and all the locations we ended up searching there. And so jumping into it, then take that information, spread awareness. If you happen to be in the area from Fresno, California, and really it's from Waterford, California, north up to Sacramento, this is the stretch that we're looking. And we're going to tell you why we're not on Highway 99, we're not on I-5, and why we're off the beaten path. We're going to share all that information with you right now. So with that, Richard, what I want to do is I want to step back into, and we're talking about your niece here. We're talking about your sister, and the vehicle that she's driving is a 2006 Chevy Trailblazer. License plate number is 9LK H008. And we believe that this is an accident. Could have been in water, but we've cleared based upon the most logical route, which we don't know if is the most logical route. We've cleared the waterways to give the family answers for that today. But we could also have a medical emergency that could have taken place. And so we need you to be checking fields, cornfields, the ravines, anything that's between Waterford and Sacramento and the routes that I'm going to share with you. The vehicle itself has some damage to the side of it. And so kind of explain about the damage that took place. And
so recently, before the disappearance, there was an accident, probably a week prior. There was a driver's side headlight that's completely knocked out and missing from the vehicle. And there's the driver's side front door peeled back at the seam where it meets the fender. And it's kind of hard to miss. There's a lot of these vehicles on the road, but none that have this identical damage. If you see a vehicle with this damage, it would be a good idea to look closer at it, possibly report it, because license plates can be changed on vehicles.
And with this also is we do have some video footage right here for you as well. And I'm going to show that to you. And I want you to kind of talk about why you're like 100% certain, even though it wasn't a license plate reader that picked it up. Why are you 100% certain that this is the vehicle in question? And I'll play that video right here for you, for everybody.
Okay, so up until yesterday, that would be the 6th of August, and the only lead that we had was from a license plate reader that was flagging my sister leaving Atwater on Schafer and Bellevue at 8:15 p.m. And that was it. That's all we had. We had her leaving that intersection going north on Schafer towards Oakdale Drive. We haven't had any leads, any information, any license plate readers, nothing popping up since. And my brother-in-law had went and canvassed the back roads, thinking that maybe with a missing headlight and it being dark that she tried to avoid major highways. She doesn't have a license. She does have an active warrant. So she would have reasons to not want to be pulled over by law enforcement. But she wanted to get home. And when she was traveling, he thought maybe she should take a back road. So he traveled through this small town right here, Waterford, and he canvassed. And we got a call yesterday from Waterford Farm Supply, and they reached out with this footage. Now, this vehicle doesn't come stock with LED headlights. As you can see in this video, that vehicle has an LED headlight and happens to be missing the exact same headlight as hers, the driver's side. And if you watch the video slow enough, you can almost make out the exact detail, the color, the same shape as a Trailblazer. And it is exactly 45 minutes after she was last seen, which this is a 35-minute drive from where she was last seen. So the timing, the description of the vehicle, the missing headlight, the type of headlights, all of it, it's kind of unmistakable. Too much of a coincidence and too many coincidences.
And so let's step back to the entire morning, the entire day, and how the day unfolded. And so we're going to start with I'm going to bring up this map right here, bring it up on screen. So bear with me a moment while I play administrator here. And if you're a news organization or any of you that needs to share any of this information, this video, 100%, you can use anything in it, any of the links, any of the maps and links that are in the description. All of this right here, this map right here is available to you. So just click on the link down below and we're going to share the details of it and backup for the day. And so the morning started where she's from, the south side of Sacramento. This is her home area here at the mobile home park. And she's leaving Sacramento at 4 a.m. because Sandra, her daughter, has a doctor's appointment down in Fresno at 8:30 a.m. Fresno is down where you live, yes, as well as Mom.
Yes.
So at so that morning she goes to the doctor at 8:30.
Yes.
And then after that, she's over at your house by 9:30. And she's there until 2:45.
2:45 in the afternoon, at which point she had left my house, went and visited with our mother for a few hours. She left there at about 5 p.m., which she had 2 diapers and 1 bottle of formula left. So I believe that she stopped at a store and got some supplies for the baby, which the license plate readers, according to law enforcement, have her heading towards the highway in Fresno at 6 p.m.
And by the highway, we're heading on 99 at this point.
We're heading towards the 99.
Because 99, as I was talking to Richard, is the route that you guys would take every time. Like
it is the most direct route. We've been taking that same route for 20 years, back and forth from Sacramento to Fresno. And
so then, here, fast forward to 7:27, she jumps off the interstate in Atwater, which is right up the road here. And this would be a normal thing. Sandra's having, had her shots that morning. Right. She's running a little bit of fever. Mom's driving home. It's not uncommon for a mom to jump off of the freeway. And here she is that she's picked up where she gets off on Franklin. She makes a left on J7. At this space, what do we call it? Spaceport Road. There's a license plate reader right here that picks her up at 7:27.
Correct.
She then makes a left onto Bellevue, and she ends up at a smoke shop at 7:30. Not to pick anything up, but she was caught by the owner on the cameras, which had been turned over to law enforcement recently as well, pulling into World of Smoke smoke shop parking lot, getting out, changing the baby on the seat of the car, putting the baby back in the car seat, and then taking off from there, going north on Schafer. And then as we're en route coming down, the morning of, this is the actual last known location because this camera picked her up on camera heading north on Schafer. Yes. And that's all the information we had. And so our plan was to then come into town and check lateral 8 here, check along Fruitland Road here. Does she end up doubling back and heading back over on Bellevue and head back down to Franklin to jump back down onto 99? Or is she going to head to the west and jump onto 99 over here? This is the theory and the thinking to begin with, again, because as Richard just said, she does not take the back roads. Her phone is dead. Yes. She doesn't have GPS in the vehicle other than it's a Chevy Trailblazer, and so it has a CD-ROM that you can either play CDs or you can put the GPS mapping in, and it's from 2006 for the GPS mapping. So we don't know if she's using GPS or not. It also has OnStar. However, there's no update on OnStar, and OnStar is not activated in the vehicle. And so then yesterday around 4 p.m., 5 p.m., then Richard contacts me and says, hey, we have some brand new information, and that new information takes us to the north with a new last known location. And what that is the video footage that I just showed you is the Waterford farm supply store right here, to where she came up the old, what do they call this road?
Oakdale Drive, which is Oakdale Highway.
Oakdale Highway, coming up from Atwood, and she came through town at that stoplight that you just saw, heading northbound, and that is the very last known location that we have of Whisper as well as Sandra. From there, so now how do we start breaking this down as we gathered this new information last night? With Richard, he's checking different cameras along the way, comes up empty-handed today. But what do we do from the water search side of it, because her vehicle has not been spotted in 23 days? And so we break it down with all right, well, we have another lateral crossing right here. We put the sonar ball in here, and this is very consistent because this is all concrete here, and including the bottom, and it's a consistent 3.5 to 4 feet deep all the way through here. No vehicle in here. Trailblazer is going to stand up at 6 feet, so it would be a good 18 inches above the water surface. We then start breaking this down, because as I was talking to Richard here, is normally, as we were talking, if she would have gone how she normally goes, she would have been on the 99. But jumping back to this information of, well, maybe, again, we can only speculate, she has a warrant, has suspended license, she has a broken taillight, she wants to avoid 99. She's no longer jumping on 99 here. She's now off of Waterford. Is she now going to risk it and jump back onto 99? However, we have a few small water sections I'll show you in just a second. Let me make sure this is showing up properly for you. Yeah. So we're on the right page here. Does she jump back to 99? If she does, there is zero water along 99 anywhere here. And so then we break it down. Okay, let's take and avoid all highways that we're taking only back roads. And as we start zooming in and we start looking at this, what type of waterways do we have available once we leave the farm supply? That brings us back to, okay, so we check this location. We then have to start speculating we want to believe that this is an accident and an accident only, but we have to have these tough conversations with family and say, is there anything that was going on in her life? And we've had a lot of conversations today that 100%, no, this is not, in my opinion, that this is not a self-harm scenario. But throughout the day as we're working, we're also not taking those off the table as we're in the area close enough to certain bodies of water to check them off. So as a result, we ended up over here in Riverbank. There's a little park right here. The water depth is only about 6 inches deep here. So nobody needs to check this location. The next location that we end up heading up to is to the north here. And this is another water crossing here, another lateral. Can't get to anything on the right. It's too far, but we ended up pulling up into here. We throw the bobber in. It is 7.5, 8 feet deep. Really hopeful, because as you look at it from like a street view, and as well as when you're right there, there's a lot of opportunity for a vehicle to veer off. You look back at your baby, whatever, or fall asleep, medical emergency, and you could end up in here. So we bobbered it, we threw the RC boat in, we scanned the entire channel all the way from here down to the next bridge. So if the vehicle's going to float for the next 2 to 10 minutes, we covered that entire area. Oh, shoot, I'm sorry. Let me back up. I guess I'm not sharing that screen. I apologize. So we're going to back up and go over what it is I just did again. So if I'm repeating myself, I do apologize. Okay, so we're back up, rewind, coming out of the farm store. We checked this lateral. It was 3.5 to 4 feet deep. We then went up to Riverbank at the park here, where this was a what if there is a self-harm scenario. Again, because we don't want to take anything off the table. This park at Jacobs Park, I think is what it was called, is a good 6 to 12 inches deep. Clear as can be, nothing in there. We then jump back over to the Oakdale Highway that she was coming up from Atwood down here, up to Waterford, up into Oakdale, heading north on that highway, keeping her off of the main route. There is this new lateral here that you can cross over, whether it's a medical emergency, if she turns around, looks at Sandra, not Sandra, Sandra, looks back at her, could end up in the water at this location. And from there, that's where we end up putting the sonar ball in. It's 7.5, 8 feet deep, plenty deep enough that the clarity is not there. It's all murky. It can absolutely hide a trailblazer. We sonared. We then put the RC boat in, and has side scan and down imaging, and we sonared everything down to this next little waterway crossing here. The vehicle would not make its way past this. All of this came up completely clear. All of it 7.5, 8 feet deep, all the way through there. So when we had the depth, we were hopeful. Afterwards, we did not find the answers we were looking for in finding Whisper and Sandra. So then it took us to what other locations do we have? There's a reservoir over here. However, we're in California, so a lot of the state parks and a lot of the reservoirs are very well gated and patrolled. So there's, the only way in is to come in through the guard shack. For that reason, we did not search any of the reservoirs that has guard shacks at them, ranger shacks, or whatever you want to call them. So we did not search any of the boat ramps at these locations, again, because we don't feel like this is a self-harm scenario. We honestly feel like this is nothing more than an accident. And after today's search, as I continue to give you the rest of where we searched, I think that you're going to feel the same, as she could just simply be off in a cornfield somewhere or in a ravine on one of these other routes that we did not take, because you're talking from Waterford up to her home where she's at. You're looking at a 90 minutes to 2 hour driving distance on these back roads. And there's, as you can see, there's so many different back roads and routes that you could take, especially if you don't have GPS. You don't know these roads that you normally take 99. And here we are, at 9 p.m. to midnight in the dark, trying to make your way home. So where does that take us from here? We ended up continuing north. It was an hour drive from this location to this location. This was a small pond body of water on somebody's property. There's a house here. But once we simply put the drone up, you could see that it was only a few feet deep, and you could see the entire bottom through here. There were some other locations along the way, but they all had deeper ditches and ravines that you're going to see some scars and some marks of a vehicle that would have gone through the ditch, as well as a lot of them that also had fences, and all of the fences were intact. And there was a lot of locations that we also stopped out along the way. A lot of the crossings I didn't mark down. We got out, we looked. No broken brush, no broken fences, no indication that any of those had a vehicle that has entered it in the last 21 days or 23 days. We then continued north, moved our way up into past Elk Grove, up into Sacramento, past her home. And the reason why we ended up going past her home is, again, we wanted to make sure that we theories and possibilities that we wanted to make sure we took off the table. What if something happened to Sandra and now a mother is panicking and just, I don't know what to do? And we talked a lot about that today, as well as to Whisper's personality and what she would have done in that. And at no point would she have taken herself up here, but we checked it off as Richard and I are on the water today. Those are conversations that we're having. Because as you guys have, those that have watched us for a long time, that we want to make sure that while we're in the area, we check as much as we can. We give the family as many answers as we can. And most things that take place happen close to home in an area that somebody's very familiar with. One of the areas that Richard and his family are very familiar with is this is their home stomping ground. This is where you guys grew up. And so we wanted to make sure that we covered from this bridge, this area just north of home, as well as down to this other boat ramp. And then we continued to jump up the river since we're already on it. And we checked out these other two locations here as well. I miss anything for you?
No, I mean, at this time, I just kind of want to point out that she's had stroke level blood pressure since she was pregnant with Sandra. She had never been able to get it under control, never found medication that worked for her. So the chances of her having a medical emergency behind the wheel are a little greater than normal. It would be very likely that she'd be having issues after leaving at a 4 a.m. departure from Sacramento, driving back, and this is now 8 p.m. So we're talking a solid 18 hours later, 17, 18 hours later. She's been taking the baby to the doctor. The baby's had fever behind having shots. I personally gave the baby Motrin before they left my house at 2:45 that day. So I know she was feverish. I know she wasn't feeling well. And it's a high stress day. So she's got high blood pressure. She's driving in the dark with one headlight. It would be easy to possibly, make a mistake for another vehicle to see her oncoming and her try to veer out of their way so she could overcorrect or end up in a field somewhere. I do hope and pray that any of you that are in the Oakdale area or anywhere from Waterford to Sacramento that have any connections with small businesses or any kind of surveillance systems that are watching those passageways going through any of them, whether it be the 120 or the Oakdale Highway or Yosemite or any of that, check your footage. See if there's a chance that you can see the vehicle anytime after 9 p.m. on the 15th of July, because she was last seen at exactly 9 p.m. on the 15th of July passing Waterford Farm Supply. And that's our last known location at this point. So from this point, I'm searching as every opportunity I get from Waterford to Sacramento and just trying to rule out any possibilities of where she may be. Once again, I know a lot of you are going to think maybe if she had an accident, she'd be in the hospital. She does have a record. If she went to the hospital and they had her fingerprinted as a Jane Doe, she would pop up in the system. She would have been identified already. The vehicle was registered to her children's father. They would have reached out to her in the event that it was towed or something happened. There's a lot of reasons why she would have been identified if she had ended up in a hospital or otherwise. At this point, I just can't help but to think the only place she could be is somewhere nobody knows where it is. She has no reason to run from us, no reason to want to get away. She was just telling me the day that she disappeared how great life was at home and how good of a time they were having and how they were making core memories. She has 2 other children at home that are 3 and 8 years old, and she has a 17-year-old as well from a previous relationship. She has children that love her, and they're waiting for her to come home. And they want their mom, and she wouldn't run from them. She wouldn't take off. It doesn't speak to her character. It doesn't speak to the situation or her circumstances at home right now. So whatever happened to her, it wasn't planned. It wasn't something that was foreseen or something that could be predicted. This is something that was just out of the blue. And I mean, once again, if she was traveling those back roads, she may have misjudged how much gas she had and how far she could have gotten. She may have run out of gas somewhere along the way and maybe looked for help in the wrong place or with the wrong person. I don't know. But I'm asking any of you and all of you that live along those routes or that are willing to go search those routes to keep an eye out for that vehicle with that damage and to just look at that photo. The photo of the baby was taken of the day of the disappearance. That is the most recent photo of Sandra. It's as fresh as it can be. And I'm just hoping that we get any kind of a new lead as to where she was last or even where the vehicle is, just so that we can start trying to rule out some options and start trying to find my sister and my niece and bring them home to their family, or at least figure out where they are and what happened to them. Because at this point, it's been 23 days and my family's at a loss for what to do.
And let me bring, more into, you triggered a few of my memories from today's search as well. And so I want to bring in a few more things that as we moved north from Waterford, we checked a couple of these laterals, and then we ended up into Oakdale, which was and is right. Oh, shoot, where's Oakdale at? A little further to the north here. Not Stockton there. Oh, here it is down here. So as we came through Oakdale, there was a Circle K that you stopped off at, the Chevron that you stepped off at. The unfortunate thing is a lot of their footage only went back for 6 days. We're still within less than 30 days of this, and this is where we need your guys' help to jump into. If you're in these areas and you see these cameras, we need you guys to be boots on the ground, go into these businesses between the hours on July 15th, she was last seen in Waterford, so between 9:40 p.m. and midnight on July 15th, we need you guys to be like, here's the vehicle, here's the license plate number. Do you happen to have anything? And what I want to share here is this is the route that we took today. So this link is down below, so you can see the exact route that we took and the waterways from the other link that we shared with you. And where we actually stopped off today was the Circle K just south of Oakdale here, as well as the Chevron as we were coming in. There was also, and you have a phone call into, there's a storage unit facility this is it right here. So you have a phone call into the storage unit facility. There's a camera right here that is facing to the south right here that would have picked her up if she was going northbound. And that is the currently where the last known attempts are to gather video footage. But she could have made a left. She could have gone through Riverbank. She could have made it over to Modesto and Salida, and she could have made her way back up 99. As you guys can see, there's so many different routes that she could have taken on the 120. Did she end up on the 26 instead? We have absolutely no idea. Right now, Richard is one man out here that is trying to find his sister. We've been out here with your mom today. Your mom's been in tears. Your mom's been thankful that, people are stepping in to help out. But this family needs so much more help, and they need it now. Next steps for Richard is, pound the pavement some more, but as well as get this out on the news. And part of that is news to you guys right here, right now, to spread awareness, share this video, get this out there to as many of your friends and your family. So even if you're across the entire U.S. or in another country, but you know somebody in California or even somebody in Oregon that might know somebody in California, get this information out to them, and then reach out to Richard over here on his Facebook page. His link is down below. So first of all, if you find Sandra and Whisper, call the authorities immediately. 911. Hey, we found these two. They're in the cornfield or wherever you find them.
The vehicle, any of it.
Yeah, anything. Whether you find them or you find the vehicle, or if you want to reach out and help, reach out to the link down below for Richard and his Facebook page. He has information he's going to keep you guys updated on. I'm sure you'll put this video on there as well. Anything that you guys can do, this family needs your help. They need it now. Very crucial. This is not a cold case. This is fresh. And as you guys know, we don't normally step in on fresh cases, but this is, 10 hours from us. I mean, essentially this is in our backyard. And as you guys know, we step into this as we were talking, I'm here as your brother. I'm here as your friend. I'm here as, her brother and, Sandra's uncle. That's how we come into each and every one of these to help you guys out. And
this organization came in today and they gave us closure in the aspect of knowing where not to look, being able to rule out areas that we wouldn't have been able to search without equipment that are far beyond our means, and being able to rent or even get a hold of. I've had people asking me for the last 23 days, get somebody with sonar, get somebody with boats, get somebody with drones, get somebody with this. That's all equipment that's hard to get a hold of, and to get a hold of something that's within my financial means, the equipment's not good enough. It doesn't, the time parameter. I also have 5 children at home and I'm only one person. So for me to find time to come out here and do this today was a blessing. It was something that was bestowed upon me, that it gives me a peace of mind to where I can go home and I can say that I put an honest day in and tried to find my sister as much as I could with all the help that I can get. And I just greatly appreciate it. However, there is so much more ground out there to cover. And if you're interested in helping and searching, I started by just typing in the last known location right there on Oakdale Highway and the 132, and put the destination in Sacramento and Rosemont, California, and put back roads or avoid highways. If she was trying to avoid the major highways because of the broken headlight and the lack of a license, then maybe she took one of 3 different routes. We went down one today. We are only able to cover one in a day. So, I mean, if you're feeling encouraged to get out there and help look, or if you live along that path, any of those paths or anywhere in there, or if you know any business owners or gas stations or whatever the case may be that might have footage, then please get the information out there and do whatever you can to help, and reach out and let me know. And I'd appreciate it. I would, because at this point I'm just at a loss for what to do next. I just need some kind of a lead to point me in a direction of where I'm supposed to go next.
And it looks like, things are already happening here, and we appreciate each and every one of you. Mid Valley here says that, they're checking their cameras now. And a lot more of you guys need to check your cameras. And like I said, if you're in these communities, we need to be boots on the ground. Go check out these businesses. No matter if they're heading north, south, east, or west, just know that right now we are north of Waterford. And that's our last known location. So we don't know if she made it to Oakdale. We don't know if she made it to Riverbank. We don't know if it ended up coming into Modesto. We don't know if it was in one of those other routes. Again, all the links that we have for you are down below for where we searched, which is this one here. So where did AWP actually put, and you can see our notes on here for where we checked. So this is our notes for our search. And then you have this one here for the route that we took today. So you know which route we took, and everything else what can you guys think of to jump in and help out and help? Oh, shoot. sorry. I'm not always good at this administrative stuff and sharing it. So let me jump back to there again. Again, I'm going to repeat myself, and I apologize. And so coming back again, this map right here is the one that this is our search map. This is how we plan our cases for where we're going to search. So this is where we end up searching. And then this one here, again, these links are down in the description. This is our exact route that we took today. And as you guys can see, there's so many more routes and possibilities, and you guys need to jump in here, play detective. And if you need to spend some time with Richard and buy him lunch and make sure that he's well taken care of and he has some company, he is exhausted right now. You know, I was just talking to him right before we started live stream, and you know, he's living out of his car and spending as much time, even with 5 kids at home, he's spending as much time as he can, you know, eating out of his car, living out of his car, driving this road back and forth, and it gets expensive as well. You know, I don't know what else to say or do. I mean, I feel like I've exhausted this for you.
Yeah, no, you have done more than law enforcement has, and I greatly appreciate that. And I at this point, any help is appreciated. Reach out to me on the Facebook link. Reach out to me through Facebook. I have my profile's public, so there's no restriction there. You guys should be able to reach me. Everybody already has that has interest in the case, and I've tried my best to respond to everybody. I have given this to law enforcement. For those of you that think that I'm not trusting in law enforcement, trust me, I have. But I have one detective that is working license plate readers, and that's about all the resources I'm getting at this time. Unfortunately, we're talking about a search radius that he just showed you that goes across 4 different counties. I mean, we start off Fresno County, we go to Stanislaus County, we go to San Joaquin County, we end up in Sacramento County along that entire trip. But just from Atwater to Sacramento is 4 different counties. We're talking Stanislaus, San Joaquin, Sacramento, and there's some in the surrounding area right there. But for each county, they can only run the license plate. The department can only run it for their county. So every time we're talking about a new area, if you have any proof that she was in your area, then come forward with it so I can give that to law enforcement and they can get approval to run the license plate readers in that county, in that town, and try to prove where she last was and help find her. For those of you that trust in law enforcement, believe in law enforcement, and think that they're out there doing their job and that we're just out here wasting our time, because trust me, I get a lot of comments all the time about how I need to just sit back and let them do their job. I'm sorry, but this is 23 days. This is my family. And if I sit back and wait, what am I waiting for? What am I telling my children? What am I telling my nieces and nephews that are asking me every day when their mom's coming home and if she's going to come home? We need answers. We need people that are willing to help, not people that are willing to question and speculate and come up with these ideas. And for those of you that are creating fake AI videos on TikTok and other forums about evidence that's been found, it has not been. If it was, I would share it. If you look at my page, I share everything as I find it when it comes out. I'm more than willing to come forward with any information. If you need to know something, ask me. I'll verify it. If not, it's true. But to come out and put these fake videos on there, she has children, one of which is 17 years old and is all over social media accounts. And you guys putting information out there that is not true is leading her children to believe that something has happened to her that we don't know has. So please, no misinformation. Whatever's been put in this video is what's factual. It's what we know at this time. And moving forward, please only use that information unless you have something that you can prove otherwise. Thank you.
We're going to end it there. Thank you very much. Spread this, share this video, spread the message, and let's do everything we can to help bring Whisper and Sandra home. So thanks for being a part of this with us. We'll see you down the road. We'll keep you guys updated as we find out updates, and Richard will on his Facebook page as well. Thank you.